This is The Beatles Show.
Now, maybe he should have said, what is The Beatles Show? I mean, that's what we're here to answer. It's a weekly, hour-long look at the act you've known for all these years. It's fast, it's fresh, fun, intelligent, and often insightful, as well as, like the Beatles, clever, witty, and unconventional. And here's what we're talking about. Now, another band, one from America, had many obvious parallels to the Beatles, and intentionally so, including their first hit, which smacks mightily of this song from Rubber Soul. That song itself lifted a couple of lines from the old Arthur Crudup song that Elvis hit with, Baby Let's Play House. But months after its release, Run for Your Life wound up serving, I believe anyway, as unconscious inspiration for this. Other than the Ruddles, who spoofed the Beatles, no other group was so intentionally patterned after John, Paul, George, and Ringo as the Monkees. Their name, like the Beatles, was a misspelled name of a group of animals. Their TV series was obviously influenced by A Hard Day's Night, both in terms of content and direction. Their music, though, was much more American flavor than British. Maybe that was because of who they had doing the writing. Brill-building pop masters like Carole King, Neil Diamond, and Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart. Now, Boyce and Hart wrote Last Train to Clarksville, and in case you wonder why we said that Run for Your Life provided unconscious inspiration for the Monkees' first hit, Bobby Hart was interviewed for a book from Billboard magazine, and he admitted that Last Train was influenced by a Beatles record, all right, but it was Paperback Writer, not Run for Your Life. He thought the Beatles were singing something about a last train. When he realized that that had nothing to do with the song, he wrote his own tune around those words, using one of his favorite towns in Arizona, Clarksville, as the destination. But if you really think that Last Train to Clarksville came more from Paperback Writer than Run for Your Life, listen to this. The prosecution rests. Like I said, clever. We had a whole hour of that in a show we called The Sincerest Form of Flattery. Now, the Beatles Show centers on the music, of course. Group and solo, the hits, a lot of the time, but B-sides, album tracks, little-known and hard-to-find stuff, too. Where it was recorded, how it was recorded, and what happened to it after that, as this piece of info we found out demonstrates. Now, about 3 years earlier, another number one from John made history for him and his, at that time, ex-bandmates. And the world will live as one. It was November 20th, 1971, when Imagine became the number one single in record world. That meant that within one calendar year, in that respected music industry magazine, all four Beatles had solo number one singles. George in the first week of the year with My Sweet Lord, Ringo on June 26th with It Don't Come Easy, Paul with Uncle Albert and Admiral Halsey on the 11th of September, and then John with Imagine. Now, to show you just how remarkable that is, I thought of some other great bands whose members had lots of success on their own, like the Eagles and Fleetwood Mac. Well, in the case of the Eagles, Glenn Frey, Joe Walsh, and especially Don Henley had lots of hits after the band went its separate ways. But believe it or not, none of them got to number one with a single on their own. The same with Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, and Christine McVie from Fleetwood Mac. Nobody in the most successful bands to come after the Beatles was able to have a chart-topping single on their own, yet everyone in the Beatles was able to do it, and they all did it in the same year. Another example of why, when we're talking about the Beatles, the subject isn't music as much as it is history. Pretty amazing, huh? We also talk about their tours, their movies, their TV appearances, their collaborators, everything they've done and who they did it with. And we talk about their lives and the Beatles' effect on our lives. They've done that too. Now, sometimes we're just about having fun, as our yearly trip to Beatles University demonstrates. Beatles University is our trivia game, where the questions are tough, the answers are tougher, and the clues are impossible. Let's see if you can answer this one. Question 7. Which Hall of Famer recorded a Beatles tribute record? Here's your clue, and listen carefully, otherwise it don't mean a thing that we played it. Now, that was a trick question. Wait. Every question we've ever asked on Beatles University is a trick question. Well, this one was tricky because we didn't give you all the information you needed. Yeah, the person who recorded that Beatles tribute record was a Hall of Famer, but a Jazz Hall of Famer. And all of the great names are in the Downbeat magazine Jazz Hall of Fame. Louis Armstrong, Benny Goodman, Dave Brubeck, and all the rest, and a couple of other people who were in both the Jazz and the Rock and Roll Halls of Fame. Miles Davis and Ray Charles. And there's one other person without whom the Jazz Hall of Fame wouldn't be complete. The Queen of Jazz, Ella Fitzgerald. And one of her hits was her reading of Can't Buy Me Love, which is why we played it. And it hit the British Top 40 in 1964. Ella was one of the first artists from her era not only to not dismiss the Beatles, but obviously to see their intrinsic talent and to support their work the best way she could. But it would be a year later that she would really pay tribute to the band by recording this.
When he smiles and shakes his head and starts that beat, the kids started screaming and stomping their feet. It's the younger generation's kind of rhythm, so don't be a creep, come on and get with them. It's the Ringo beat, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the Ringo beat, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a song called Ringo Beat, which did chart here in the U.S., a tribute to Ringo and the Beatles and rock music from one of the all-time greats of the music style that rock superseded. Now, that's about as magnanimous as you can get. And did you hear that voice? So marvelously clean and fluid. There's a reason why they called her the First Lady of Song, and you just heard it. And you also heard the answer to question 7. The Hall of Famer who recorded a tribute record to the Beatles was Ella Fitzgerald with Ringo Beat. Frankly, we will put our conceptualization, our writing, our presentation, and our production up against any show like it that's on the air anywhere. And hopefully you're starting to feel that way too. Now, the show is available in commercial and non-commercial forms, and we can get it to you any way you want, short of the Pony Express. But if that's how you want it, I'll look into getting a horse. Now, from the start, we tried to do with this show what the Beatles did with their music. Go everywhere and do anything in pursuit of one objective: entertain the audience. Getting close to 1,000 shows, I think we've done that, and we continue to do that. And if your audience loves John, Paul, George, and Ringo, as so many people still do, then I really believe you're going to love this show. And I hope the clips you heard give you some of the reasons why. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you again.